All right. Well, I figured it's time for another Q&A, and since we're entering the Banana Republic, I thought I'd use the appropriate background. First off, I'd like to compliment my friends over in Australia for their work, and that it's really apparent that we are not able to ship to you guys right now. So it's going to be a while before we can get product off to you, the vitamins and the supplements, probably the books too. Sorry about that. We'll deal with it as best we can. But I wanted to give a shout out. Go for it, Melbourne and Victoria. All right, let's go to it. Can I smoke weed during a dry fast? Well, here's the problem with that. Sure, you can, but the CB1 receptor sites in the hypothalamus release ghrelin. Ghrelin is your hunger hormone, so you'll be more hungry while you're not supposed to be being hungry. So it'll make it a little more difficult. So I would probably caution you against that. Second question. I'm having trouble sleeping by the 5th day, preventing going to day 7. This is a big problem, especially with women, because their cortisol levels get higher during a dry fast, so it tends to keep them up. I've talked to other people about this. What we try to do is say, well, get to a situation where you get a lot of white noise. Sometimes that'll put you to sleep, like a fan or an ocean, but that stuff, really you just have to kind of push through it. And don't get into coffee and tea before you get into the dry fast, because these caffeine derivative drinks will mess up your cortisol. So not much I can do about it except get through it. If you can do 5 days, that's pretty good. I mean, seriously. If you can go to 7, better. All right, let's see here. Enemas with amendments. Well, my suggestion is clear water enemas only for a couple of reasons. You don't want the bowel absorbing anything. And if you're just trying to flush the bowel out, you probably just want to use water. Most people think this is pretty adequate. Some people want to use magnesium sulfate and all these other things. You don't need to. Just use some clear water and get it in there. You're not trying to put anything into your body through the bowel, okay? And so just use clear water. It's probably safer. Next question, supplements during a dry fast. No. The idea is you're dry fasting. You're not taking anything into the GI tract because it stimulates receptors in the stomach to derail the whole autophagy action going on during a dry fast. So yeah, no supplements. So yeah, it's like you can't drink water, you can't take supplements. You can't eat aspirin, you can't do any of that stuff. Just give it a break for 5 or 6 days. Trust me, your body will take care of everything. Let's see, you're using lotion on the skin during a dry fast. No, the skin is porous. Things that go into the skin have to be processed through the skin, which go into the bloodstream, to the liver, and all this other stuff. You don't want to do that. You want to leave the skin only absorbing water, which is why I suggest using showers or baths or swimming in the ocean, that kind of stuff. Something natural. Because water going into the skin helps the cells push the lymph out into the lymphatic system. Because what's happening during a dry fast is when you're doing autophagy, the body is practicing exocytosis. A lot of stuff is going into the lysosomes for degradation. A lot of stuff it can't do, it just pushed out into the lymphatic system. Also, because you're dry fasting, you're using your fat for fuel, which sends free fatty acids to the mitochondria to produce ATP. It also produces a lot of structured water, endogenous water. Filonoff talks extensively about this. This is the water you want because it's pure and structured. It flushes debris out of the cell, into the cellular matrix, extracellular matrix, and into the lymphatic system. Showering and bathing and that stuff just helps your body flush it out. It doesn't get things congested in the lymphatic system. It doesn't interrupt the GI tract with any additions. You want to close down that digestive system. So don't put anything on your body, just water. Just showers, baths, swim in the ocean. It's the best way to do it. Let's see. Exercise during a dry fast. No. You have to do a little bit of walking around. That's not exercise. Don't go to the gym. Don't lift weights. Don't do that kind of stuff. Do that later for my book, Neogenesis, but not during a dry fast because you want to just take it easy. You've turned on cellular cleaning. You don't want to do extra work. And I've talked about this in the book, the Phoenix Protocol. You have to take the time to let the body clean itself out. That's not stimulating all the stuff and the triggers from exercise to start muscle growth. You want to do that. Your body is naturally producing growth hormone in the pituitary during a dry fast because you're not drinking water, and that protects your muscle. So don't work out during a dry fast. Just take some walks. Let's see. Dry fasting longer than 7 days for medical conditions. I get this a lot, and I have to remind people that, yeah, dry fasting will solve a lot of medical conditions. That's why the Russians adopted it, Filanov, Shishnikov, and a bunch of other ones, because it gets into two acidotic crises. I want to take you through one with a 7-day, because it gets to the point where it really starts burning out the virus and bacteria and parasites and that stuff. The second one on day 8, 9, into 10 is really deeply rooted to get out really, really problems. But in that sense, you kind of want to have medical supervision during that time. These are very, very strenuous events doing dry fasting, anhydrous starvation in particular. So you want to go ahead and do a 5 to 7. You can do them at home. You have your friend or a girlfriend or a wife or your husband or your boyfriend, have him there with you, so if anything does happen, hasn't happened so far, but they can take care of that. But on an 11-day dry fast, which is what Shishnikov says, and Filanov, you want to have somebody with some really medical knowledge, because you're not using dry fasting for the Phoenix Protocol for curing medical conditions. You're using dry fasting in a unique way. What happens when you use dry fasting and its benefits of regenerating tissue, activating stem cells, cleaning out everything when you're not sick? How much more effective is it for rejuvenating your youthful function? That's why we're using dry fasting in the Phoenix Protocol and ultimately in Neogenesis. So let's see. So yeah, again, 7 days or longer, you better have somebody with you on there. Product access in Australia. Again, I mentioned that at the top of the hour, so to speak. Yeah, well, there's a real problem with shipping things to Australia right now. They're in these ridiculous lockdowns. It boggles my mind, because it isn't working. They keep applying it. It's a perfect example of doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. The definition of insanity. So just be patient. It'll get to you. Everything will get back online at some time or another, or perhaps the Orange Vest will solve the problem for you. How many dry fasts during the year? This is something I've talked about a lot. You can do little dry fasts because you don't want to take it longer than 3 days, because you don't want to drop your pKa down to 0 and start initiating stem cell activation regeneration processes. But you can do a lot of stuff with a 2 or 3 day dry fast that will extend autophagy for a day or two and clean the cells out and the tissue out. That's fine. I've found that 7-day dry fast once per year is probably all you need. And maybe after the first year or two, you can drop it down to 5. Why? Well, because once you get all the toxins out, you can't get any more out. So you're just doing it for the regeneration stuff. An analogy is, once you wring all the water out of a washcloth, you can keep wringing it. Not going to get any more water, but it's really hard on the washcloth, the cotton in the washcloth. So now, once a year is fine. And you'll see in the next book that there's other things to do that allows that to work functionally with a yearly application of eating and not eating in this fashion. I'll get into more of that later. Let's see, what supplements do I take? Wow. Well, every day I take Fisetin, resveratrol, stem cell regen, and polyphenol plus, because the Fisetin gets rid of senescent cells and gets rid of their cytokines and all the damaging stuff that causes more senescent cells. The resveratrol 1000 activates the machinery that makes NAD+. It doesn't make NAD, it just is the trigger to make the machinery make the NAD, and you need the NAD so you can activate your sirtuins, which does all this great work. Like deacetylazing viral DNA inside the cells. It takes the acetyl groups off the code, so the start and stop sequences are taken off, so it just gets neutralized, gets moved to a lysosome and degraded. So I take those specifically with oils, olive oil, yogurt, butter, that kind of stuff. Some people break it up into their yogurt. Some people worry about that, but I've done it. It doesn't change the taste of the yogurt at all. And that's one way to get, because these particular nutraceuticals are fat soluble, and if you drink them with water, it just neutralizes them, so it's a waste of money. I use the stem cell regen usually before bed, because during the evening you want to be able to generate lots of new immune cells out of your bone marrow. And this particular product was developed from some studies that shows there's a synergistic relationship with the ingredients of the proportions that are in stem cell regen that activates your bone marrow stem cells to make more immune cells. Just a good thing. Polyphenol plus, I take that usually in the morning, sometimes in the evening, but that's a good one because it neutralizes free radicals in the mitochondria. It improves mitochondrial health, protects neural mitochondria. So during a dry fast, you're going to make a lot of new mitochondria because dry fasting activates mitochondrial biogenesis. So you get new mitochondria, and you want to give them all the chance they have to be able to operate successfully because you're alive because your mitochondria are healthy. So I don't want to use seed oils, for instance, but I'll get into that in the next book. Let's see. Can I use a sauna during a dry fast? I love saunas. I love infrared saunas. But again, you don't want to do things to the body that aren't really totally natural. This particular idea uses what the body naturally does, sleep. It just extends sleep. You don't do a sauna when you sleep. So it's again, you have to think about what this therapy is all about. It's not to heal illnesses specifically, because that's not my job. I'm not a medical doctor. It's to apply the benefits of dry fasting to rejuvenate tissue and restore metabolic function to a more youthful position and youthful age metabolically. So you guys have been really great. I've had fantastic questions from you all. It's been challenging sometimes, but I always get back to you guys, and I always make sure that I answer your questions and spend the time. I check the site every day on the Phoenix Protocol on YouTube. And also we had some questions about where do you get the products, where do you get the book. The book's for sale on Amazon. You can get to Amazon.com, the Phoenix Protocol by August Dunning. And you can get all the supplements on Amazon and off of our website, siderlife.com, which links to the Amazon sales. And you can also find them on eBay. So if you can't get product in your country, you might try the eBay site to find the products, the supplements in particular, and the book. So it's been great. I'm having lots of fun. There'll be more videos later. And if you have any ideas, please suggest them. Do it in the comments, write in the comments, and I will make sure to put them in the next Q&A. Have a great day.